Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It is a wonderful morning here in British Columbia, Canada. I love being on the west coast of Canada. I know it's morning for me. Good afternoon, good evening, good tomorrow, whatever it is for you, wherever you are. Welcome, welcome. And honestly, this is day one of Fun After 40, Play, Power, and Possibilities. And I know you know where you are, but I just want to say I'm so glad that you're here. Whether you joined because one speaker caught your eye, because a friend invited you, or because something in you knows it's time for more, you are in exactly the right place. So you know, this summit was created because I deeply believe that life does not narrow with age, it expands when we give ourselves permission to see what is still possible. And that permission to see, that was huge for me. Giving myself permission was a big step. Thought I was supposed to be grateful for everything, but so much is possible. So today, today especially, we're going to begin with vision, possibility, and the conversations that help us remember that our next chapter does not need to look smaller than what came before us, right? It doesn't have to get smaller. I am so tired of hearing people my age downsizing. What are you doing? Life is more glorious, more joyous, and more full. Embrace that. So I guess because I have the privilege of opening our first day, I want to begin by sharing something that's super close to my heart, and to the heart of the work that I really, really do. Because before we talk about what we want next, we often need to understand who we're being while we try to create it. So, welcome. I am going to talk a lot about being today. I'm going to talk a lot about expectations that create our identity, and our identity creates our results. And before I begin, I really want you to know that yes, I'm starting, that the first talk is mine, but I want you to know how this talk will serve you. So, yes, this is Fun After 40. I'm going to be talking about you are wealthy now. Wealth is a part of the fun. And I mean, I'm hoping I'm not the only one who thinks that. I can see a few smiles out there. Wealth in everything, though. So, my talk, You Are Wealthy Now, will focus on money as examples, but also here, you are healthy now. You are rich in relationships now. You are rich in time now, in love. Insert what you're looking for, because the principles of this talk apply all the way. So, in the next few minutes, we're going to not really learn how to make more money, because that's not my expertise. We're going to understand why money has shown up in our lives the way it has, and how to change that from the inside out. So take a moment and decide, what are you listening for? Are you listening for you're wealthy now? You're healthy now? You have love now? You have time now? Decide how you're going to interpret what I'm talking about so that you've got a clear idea of where we're headed. So this talk will really help you see money differently, or health, or relationships. It'll help you see money differently, relate to it differently, and most importantly, it'll help you decide who you are in relationship to it, so you can manifest more of what you would love. Now, Desi, if a question shows up in the chat, if you wouldn't mind just calling my attention to it, because my chat's on my other window and I'm not so sure I'm going to be looking over there, but I know you are. So
Of course.
awesome. Love you for that. So I want to start by sharing who I am really and why I care so deeply about this conversation. And a lot of you know me, but I've manifested a strong blended family in my life. Great health, other meaningful relationships, time freedom, oh my goodness, financial growth, not because I cracked a secret. Okay, there's no secret. I learned something that most people are never taught, and that is that results follow identity. So today we are going to be talking about wealth, like I said, but I don't want us to talk about settling or pretending that we're happy with what we have. And I definitely don't mean being spiritual about having nothing. Okay. Whether it's spiritual about being unhealthy, well, you know, God must want me this way, or the universe wants me this way, or without love. That's not what I'm meaning. What I'm talking about today is wealth in everything is first an identity. So being wealthy means believing you deserve abundance, that you're worthy of it, and that wealth belongs in your life. Because evidence doesn't create identity. Identity reveals evidence. So when you're looking around at the evidence in your life, it does not tell you who you are. You're going to tell life who you are. Your identity will reveal the evidence. So what you believe to be true becomes your lived reality. So that's why this talk is called You Are Wealthy Now. So most people don't realize that they are living, buying, deciding from an identity, not an income. Okay? So this talk is not about spending more money. It's about changing how you relate to money, and the relationship changes how wealth shows up in your life. So it's a difference between thinking, I can't afford that, and deciding to think, I'm choosing this now with gratitude and expansive feelings. And I know that what I want is already part of my life right now. Not someday, not soon, now. And I'm talking about those moments when we go through the grocery store and we'd really rather buy the $100 item, but we buy the $50 item, looking at steaks or you name it, whatever calls you. That's how we approach that, with an identity of, I'm choosing this right now, not, oh, I wish I could afford the other one. There's a complete different feeling. Because when that identity leads, behavior changes. And when behavior changes, results always follow. So let's test this, okay? I don't want to talk at you. I want you thinking and taking in what's happening. So I'd love for you to reflect on something just quietly for a moment. Look back over the last year or two and think of a time maybe when money felt tight, or your health felt low, or your relationships were sparse or unhappy. Think of a time then. Just bring it to mind. I don't want to make you upset, but just grab a time, okay? I see that smiling face, Ruthie. Hello. You can say Zoom user, but we all know who you are. Now, ask yourself as you look back, that situation, did it work out? Did the money show up, the people, the health? Did an opportunity appear? Did a solution come through? Or did it not? And more importantly, what were you believing at that time? Were you believing it would somehow work out? Or were you bracing for it not to? Because here's something super subtle. If your identity says money never works out for me, you will unconsciously look for proof of that. And if your identity says things always work out for me, money always works out for me, health always works out for me, you will find proof of that. My husband and I always believe that things work out for us, and they have. I mean, what we didn't realize for years, and this will probably make Jean-Luc laugh, was that our definition of work out was small. I mean, years ago, worked out meant groceries were covered, bills were paid, making it through the month, kids were clothed, right? But now, like, completely different definition of worked out. Worked out means the higher level airline seats, the cruise cabins that we want, the experience we want when we're shopping for everyday items, organic, eco-friendly, the relationships we're looking for, what we actually want. That's the level of worked out. That's the level of life that we choose. This is the same belief that everything always works out for me, but with an expanded identity. We didn't just believe it would work out. We decided it works out at a higher level. And that's a highest level you identity decision. Choosing who you are before the evidence changes. Choosing who you are before the evidence changes. So here's where I really want to lovingly challenge you. When you look back at times, like I said, when money, when health, when relationships felt tight or unhappy or not what you were looking for, one of two things happened. Either the money came through or it didn't. Either the love came through or it didn't, right? And here's, health as well. I'm not going to keep saying those, that'll drive you crazy, but you know what I mean. Here's the part that most people miss. Both outcomes still worked out according to what you believe. And if you believed things somehow worked out for you, you likely found solutions, support, opportunities, new people to meet. And if you believed money doesn't work out for you or health, it's hard, scarce, or unreliable, or it's someone else's fault, then that belief was confirmed too. Not because you were right or wrong, but because identity always leads. Right? The universe doesn't respond to hope, it responds to expectation. Money doesn't respond to hope, it responds to expectation. And when we wait for money to prove our worth, for a relationship to prove our worth, for health to prove our worth, we give our power away. So the question isn't, did money work out for me? The real question is, what did I expect to be true? And how faithfully did life prove me right? So look back to that moment that you chose a few moments ago, that time when, you were hoping something would work out and either it worked out or it didn't. I'd love you to reflect on what were you actually believing then? And notice how that came to fruition. And even if it wasn't what you wanted, celebrate your power because you did that. You created that. And there's a win in there. Right? That real question then is, what did I expect to be true and how faithfully did life prove me right? Most people aren't reacting to their current circumstances, they're reenacting their history because what is happening in my life today is the result of what I believed yesterday, the day before, and the day before that. And if your identity expects things to not work out, you will knowingly look for proof of that. So sitting here in the identity of where I was 5 years ago, a teacher with a leveled income, this is all that I could make, a husband with a leveled income, kids and their wives with a certain relationship, my health at a certain level. I looked at what was around me and I saw those results, not feeling the best, dragging myself to work, wishing my daughter-in-law showed more love toward me, wishing that, you name whatever the problem. Those results caused me to feel a certain way. And those feelings led to thoughts. And those thoughts led to actions, which led to results. And those results, they were the same again. I've got more of the same because I was coming from the energy of what I saw in front of me. What I'm talking about today, about being wealthy now, being healthy now, being in loving relationships now, is this. Working from your identity that expects things to work out, that you have everything you would love, and you'll begin noticing signs of support, movement, and flow. So I may be in this spot where I'm teaching and I'm tired and my health is going downhill and I don't have the relationships that I always want, deepest or whatever, you name it. But if I go, I would love that loving relationship with my daughter-in-law. My son loves her so much. I want her to love me so much as I love her. I would love my health to be great. I would love more money flow, you name it. When I come from that, I'm like, oh, that feels great. When I think about being there, that feels fantastic, expansive, joyful, loving, warm. When I come from that space and I feel from that space and I think from that space and I take action, then the results are not where I was before, but a higher level. So for example, if I'm going to pay a bill today and I'm back in my old identity 5 years ago where things were kind of crappy, oh, I'm sure glad we have just enough money to pay this bill. So I'm feeling heavy and I think of that, just, oh, glad we have just enough money to pay this bill, thank goodness. And then I pay the bill feeling, then I'm going to get more in my life. Versus same amount of money, same bill. But I think about the person for whom everything's all worked out. Yeah, but I'm wealthy now means that I have all the wealth that I need and that I feel generous and abundant and expansive and joyful. And so when I'm feeling that and it's time to pay my bill, wow, I'm thinking, this is really cool. I love how money flows through my life. Isn't this awesome? I can pay this bill and so many more. Look how much money comes to me and I'm able to circulate it. And then that higher level thought comes to that action, comes to a higher level result. And now I've come in at a higher vibration, which attracts more higher vibration to me. Because your expectations lead to your identity. And when I'm expecting to feel joyful, abundant, I don't know, generous, around money. Guess what I get more of? So, you have to look for all the small wins in health and love and time, you name it. But finding $5 in your pocket of your winter coat when you bring it out next fall, that's money responding to you. Going online to buy something you always buy and it's $100 off or it's 50, that is money responding to you. Celebrate the wins. Money is always responding. But it's the same with relationships. You could wish for those warmer relationships and you're hoping it'll come in this way. But when the doorbell rings and someone tries to sell you something and you end up chit-chatting and you're there for a while, you know how we folk can do that. And we make a new friend. Have relationships not responded for us? Of course they have. They absolutely have. So expectation is identity. The level you're expecting at is what the world responds to. So do you want proof of your identity? Answer a couple of questions. How do I feel when I log into my bank account? How do you feel? Put it in the chat. What do you feel when you log into your bank account? Are you in that expansive mode? Are you feeling, ugh? Are you feeling, I wish it was more? Are you feeling, well, I had more money last month. More is coming. Good, Lynette, right? What are you thinking when you're thinking that, right? When you're logging in, how do you feel? When you're paying a bill, how do you feel? How do you feel? And I want you to think, if I feel this way and I take action. So again, back to health. If you're having health challenges and you're headed to the doctor, how are you feeling as you head to that doctor? When you're looking for relationship and you're about to go meet a friend, or maybe you're going to go on a date, how are you feeling when you're heading into that? Because if you're heading into that stuck in the feeling of, this doesn't work out for me, health, wealth, money, insert, right? This doesn't work out for me. You will get exactly that. It doesn't work out for me because that person, that the money, the doctor, the nurse, the test on the other end, it's all responding. It's all energetic. So how about this? Good. Proud of yourself. I love that. I just saw my chat. Sorry. It's not worse than I'm thinking it is. Ooh, let's get away from the word worse. We could upgrade that thought. Proud of myself and know that more is coming. Proud of myself and looking forward to see more. Leave the worse out. We don't want to attract that feeling, but I do love that. That's halfway there. Feel good when I'm putting money in, and when I pay a bill, I'm grateful I have it. Yes. I love the feeling of every time I spend money, it comes back to me multiplied, right? Money flows to and through me with ease, right? Money is energy. Yes. It is. Everything in our life is like breath. Our relationship, our health, our money, it's going to have a rhythm. And if we only notice when it's low, we're going to struggle. Like if I can't catch my breath and I focus on that, there is struggle. And if I continue to think on that, that's the same with money. It's the same with health. So next question, how do you feel when you book a flight or a trip? Do you always need to do it on discount day? Like Tuesdays is one of the cheapest days to fly. Have you noticed that? Do you know that? Or is that like, no, I don't even know that? That's good. Do you have to get the lowest rate? Do you go to cheapflights.com or do you go to Air Canada or, I don't know, KLM, straight to the site and just get the seat you want? The answers that you have here are showing your identity. Expectation is your identity. If you're expecting a lower level ticket, if you're expecting to spend a certain amount of money, and do you want to sit there? So I always say, and I'm thinking of whether to say this now or say this later, but I always ask people, if you're about to log into your bank account and you're worried, you're feeling restricted, you're feeling low, if you're about to phone, for me, it's my daughter-in-law, right? Good, Lynette. Yeah. Yeah. Don't do the puddle jumper. No. Don't do the puddle jumper. That's horrible. When I'm about to phone my daughter-in-law, the one that I love to bits, and I know she loves me, it's in there somewhere. If I feel kind of funky, I don't phone then. I wait till I'm in the good energy, or I put myself in a good energy, and I have my ways. It's going to do that the same with you log in the bank account, the same when you pay a bill, because how you're responding right now and how you're acting is your expectation, and you're only doing that because of what you've learned in your life. So it's time to teach yourself a different way. So if money has always been responding to who you believe yourself to be, then really the question that matters is, who are you deciding to be now? So like I said, every time I spend money, it comes back to me multiplied. Every time I meet a new person, it leads me to 3 new people. I can't believe it. What is your belief? Or it leads me to multiple people or great new friends. Money comes to me continuously and easily from various sources. Every time I go to the doctor, they just tell me how strong I am, how well I am, how things are looking great, right? These are beliefs that we can hold and look for evidence to support them. Because if we look for the opposite, every time I go in for a test, it always comes up negative. I always need a procedure. I had this for a while. Every time I go to the dentist, I need a crown. I'm like, oh, Susanne, that's not a belief I want to hold. I've been to the last 5 visits without that, thank the Lord, because I changed my belief around it. Every time I go, they tell me how healthy my teeth are, right? Don't decide when you earn more. Don't decide when you have more, right? Don't decide when the evidence changes or someone else approves for you. Decide now. Wealth is someone you choose to be. Health is someone you choose to be. And who you are, not your bank account, is what shapes your life. So you are wealthy now. Now, if you have a few questions, I have a few minutes. I'm going to let you know about my free gifts that are available on the page, but I do have a few minutes. So if you're looking at a situation right now and you're looking to head in somewhere and going, what do I think about the situation? I want to switch it, but what do I believe? Pop it in the chat or come off mute, because that is absolutely possible. That's what we're here for today. While you get up the gumption to do that or pop it in the chat, I will let you know that on the dashboard, my free gift is a quick checklist. And really, it's called Why Your Manifestation Isn't Working Out Yet. Okay. Of course, the title really is self-explanatory, but the idea of this is there's 10 or 12 statements in here. And the more that are true, the less aligned you are with a bigger, grander life. So the more that call to you, like, that's an area where I could change a belief. So I didn't want to give you all the airy fairy what you should be thinking, because very often we're stuck in a certain area. Okay. Yeah. So give that link a try and let me know if that works for you. And as well, my VIP gift, which is included if you upgrade to VIP, is a ticket to my 3-day event, Aligned and Amplified, which is occurring in April 28th, 29th, and 30th. And in that 3-day event, a couple of the speakers are on here. In that 3-day event, we talk about your vision. In day 1, we really help you hone it in, help you identify what you're looking for. In day 2, we work on your self-concept, who and what you're believing, a little bit like what we talked about today, and how to become that. You are wealthy now, successful, filled with love, you name that. And then day 3 is how to maintain the awareness of where I'm at in order to bring what I'm looking for in my life to me more quickly. So a ticket to that is included if you upgrade to VIP, and that event is $47, and coinkedinkly, so is the VIP upgrade. So just so you know, if that works for you, that is out there for you. All right. Talking to your granddaughter's mother. Your granddaughter's, yes. Oh, yes, that's your daughter-in-law. You got it, or maybe not, but yeah, you've got it. Honestly, take those moments. Ask yourself, how are you feeling as you head forward? And ask yourself if that feeling, if that belief serves you, and what would you rather believe? Okay. I see it. Dr. Rousseau, good. Okay. So we are a little bit on the early, so I'm going to take a little 5-minute break. We have another speaker right at the bottom of the hour. We have Lynette Melnick. So go ahead, go to that dashboard, read about what she's going to talk about. Thank you, Angelica. And take a look at her free gift, and we will be right back. Thanks, you guys.